Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Former President of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, describes it as a living manual for the renaissance of an eminent African country. I'm talking about this fascinating book titled Reclaiming the Jewel of Africa, a blueprint for taking Nigeria and Africa from potential to posterity. Believe me when I say this is an absolute must-read book, particularly for those in governance. And not just in politics. I think everybody needs to read this because we live in a country that we all desire to be a lot better. Most of us see the potential of Nigeria, and most of us are frustrated by our inability to actualize that potential. It's been frustrating. We all want a better country. We know Nigeria can be better. We know Nigeria can be prosperous. We know Nigeria has all it takes. But you read through this book and you see pages and pages that describe why we are struggling as a country and what we can do to become a great country. It's a book that highlights problems, but it's also a book that says, let's all be optimistic, we can do it. The things we need to do are clear. They are clearly articulated in this book. How I wish every member of the government can pick up this book and read. Do people in leadership, do they have education retreats at times when they go through books like this and they discuss and maybe bring the author in and the author shares his or her ideas, here, and they can implement, and somebody's monitoring the implementation over time? We can make Nigeria great. And when you read a book like this, you just believe that. So, Reclaiming the Jewel of Africa. The author is no other person than Mr. Olusegun Aganga, two-time former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And he was not just a minister, he was a minister who occupied two very, very important portfolios. Let's get to meet with him and then enjoy this reading.
My name is Olusegun Aganga, the former Minister of Finance and Chairman of Economic Management Team of Nigeria between 2010 and 2011, and the former Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment between 2011 and 2015. During those periods, I had the privilege and an opportunity to chair the World Bank and IMF, and of course, the chairman of the Ministerial Council of the WTO during those periods. I have just written this book called Reclaiming the Jewel of Africa. And I get asked a lot of questions about what is the motivation for writing this book. The reality is that I think there's a general agreement that Nigeria is not where it should be today. There's a general agreement that Nigeria and indeed Africa have great potentials, and Nigeria has the potential to be one of the most prosperous and great nations in the world. When I was privileged to go into government, I was a managing director of Goldman Sachs there. When I was invited to come into government and become Minister of Finance, during my period in government, I realized and saw that it's not that the potential is huge. That a country that is so blessed with so many natural and human resources, a country that is a top 10 oil and gas producer in the world, a country that has more than 84 million hectares of land where almost everything can grow, a country that has more than 45 solid minerals in commercial quantity, a country that has a demography of an average age or mean age of about 18.6, which is the envy of the world, a country that has a solid, strong diaspora group. In fact, in the United States, the Nigerian diaspora in the United States are claimed to be the most educated immigrants in America. And we know what they're doing all over the world. We have the best brains all over the place. So the question is, why have we not achieved our potential? When you speak to different people, you get different answers. Some might tell you it's all about leadership. Others might tell you it's all about corruption. But there's no one book that actually summarizes what we need to do to get us to that destination that we, all Nigerians, want to get to. Based on my knowledge and experience in and out of government, I felt that there was a need to have a roadmap, to have a good understanding of what is preventing us, what we need to do as a nation to achieve our full potential. This is not a biography. It's not about any government in particular, and it's not about any individual. It's more about my country. It's about your country, a country that is so blessed with so natural resources and human resources, and that's underperforming. And the idea is, this is supposed to be a contribution towards achieving that goal. The approach has been to look at those issues, understand what the problems are, but far more importantly, this book focuses more on the solutions. You hear people talk a lot about the problems, but you don't hear enough about the solutions. The idea in this book is to talk more about the solutions, focusing far much more on the causes rather than the symptoms. So when you talk about corruption, you need to focus far much more on the causes of corruption, for example. Or you talk about leadership, you need to focus on the problem, but focus on the causes itself. And then you have the right solution. I've also tried to look at other countries and share some experiences of how other countries have dealt with the same issue. There's no issue we're going through that other countries have not gone through. So I have tried to look at different countries, similar countries with similar population, natural human resources, some bigger, some smaller. But the idea is lessons we can learn from these countries. And the overall hope, is that we can all make a difference, regardless of whether we are in or out of government. This country belongs to all of us. We're all stakeholders. Each one of us is a leader, and each one of us has a role to play. The Nigerian citizen, the good citizen, we must emerge. And this book sets out the different roles, whether you're a traditional ruler, a religious ruler, a religious leader, whether you're a student, whether you're in government or out of government, private sector or in public service, there's a role for all of us. And I hope that this will motivate us to take our country to where it should be. The book, Reclaiming the Jewel of Africa, is organized into about 10 chapters. The first chapter addresses a number of issues. It addresses issues about democracy. Is democracy working for Nigeria the way it should be? And I'll read one or two things about democracy. A brief word, that is from page 3. A brief word about Democracy Index, which is compiled annually by the Economics Intelligence Unit of the Economics Group. It measures the state of democracy in 167 countries, of which 166 are sovereign states and 164 are UN member states. The index is as strong an indicator of where the countries are as can be measured, and is based on 60 indicators grouped into 5 different categories. Nigeria is categorized in the most recent survey as a country with a hybrid democracy. Nigeria's overall democracy score of 4.11 points as of 2021 is extremely near to being classified as an authoritarian regime. There are four classes. You have full democracy, you have flawed democracy, you have hybrid democracy, and you have the hybrid regime, and you have authoritarian regime, which is the bottom one. Nigeria is hybrid, close to the bottom. I would then move on to the next chapter, which talks about the institutions. This is a part I really want to read on institutions. History and research have shown that countries fail because they have been ruled by a narrow elite group, mainly the political class, that has organized a society and institutions for their benefit at the expense of the vast majority of the people. In such an environment, there are no incentives for those few who control such political power to build vital institutions. The result is that a few get more prosperous, and the majority and country become poorer and poorer. This is not a sustainable model, and there are examples in Zimbabwe, North Korea, Egypt, Sierra Leone, and Central African Republic. The challenge is for Nigeria to clearly prove through its performance and essential conditions that it does not belong to such a category. And of course, it talks about the political, social, and economic institutions. The last bit I want to talk about, the book contains a lot of this. I could be here all day reading everything, but I think I'm just trying to read quite a few areas here. I talked about people, the importance of number one, which is our people. And the point I'm making there is that a century ago, Nigeria had 16 million people. Today, the story is drastically different, with an estimated 216 million people. We need to invest in our people, starting with rebuilding our value system and developing a law and order society. We must reform the health and educational system to make our education more relevant to the economy and national development. We need schools focusing on character formation, technical skills acquisition, educational excellence, and spiritual insight. It is time for a robust welfare system and a dependable security architecture we can rely on. Governments exist to make the governance structure and the society work for the citizens, and in Nigeria, that includes a sustainable plan for empowering the youth and the middle class. I end with Nelson Mandela's quote, and which is, "The black people of the world need Nigeria to be great as a source of pride and confidence." I agree. God bless Nigeria. God bless Africa. Nigeria will rise again and become the jewel of Africa.
Welcome back. The big one is here again. The Nigeria Prize for Literature, which is sponsored by NLNG. We're talking about $100,000 won by one writer every year. Imagine that, $100,000, and it's up for grabs again. 11 writers have been longlisted. The usual procedure is after the long list, 3 are shortlisted, and then one of the 3 takes home the big prize. It's a prize that every writer in Nigeria looks forward to. Even when you're not long-listed, you are eager to know those who are long-listed, those who are short-listed, and then the eventual winner. Kudos to NLNG for keeping this alive and keeping the spirit of literature alive over the decades in Nigeria. What a prize it is. Well, recently, these 11 long-listed writers were hosted. Traditionally, CORA, Committee of Relevant Arts, combines with NLNG to host the long-listed writers at an event. And we were there again this year. Enjoy this.
The 14th CORA Nigeria Prize for Literature Book Party. The annual book party is organized by the Committee of Relevant Arts, CORA, and the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, NLNG, to celebrate writers long-listed of the Nigeria Prize for Literature. As usual, the dance troupe are here to welcome the long-listed authors, art enthusiasts, and other dignitaries from various walks of life. In 2004, the NLNG inaugurated the Nigeria Prize for Literature to discover and unveil writing talent while promoting outstanding literary works in the country. The $100,000 in prize money to the overall winner makes the prize the biggest in Africa. Although over 100 applications were received for the year's competition, which focuses on drama, the judges, after thorough scrutiny, long-listed 11 authors. In no particular order, the long list includes Dance of the Sacred Feet by Ade Adeniji, Gidojuju by Victor Duga, Greets by Obari Gomba, Homecoming by Cheta Igbokwe, The Boat People by Chris Anyoko, and The Brigadiers of a Mad Tribe by Abuchi Mudilim. Others are The Ojuelegba Crossroads by Abidin Ujomu, The Spellbinder by Bodesho Ande, When Big Masquerades Dance Naked by Olubumi Familoni, and Yam Tarawala, The Warrior King by Henry Akubuiro. Here are some excerpts from some of the long-listed books.
Look at the way the chiefs treated you. They have turned against you. If the whole village turns away from your side, what can I do? I am only a man.
Man, you are a king. King, that is what you are. You are not just one man. You are a king over thousands. The representative of the gods before men. The one they call Igbakeji Orisha. And you are calling yourself a man. You are 1,000 men. You can do whatever it is you want to do.
Dance of the Sacred Feet by Ade Adeniji.
Adeyemi, son of Aladejobi, the very good-natured king who at a very early age sat in the very center of the gathering of kings. Was your father not the only man of wisdom who admitted early in life that trying to find the artist who designed the beautiful incisions on his palm was an effort in futility?
Yes.
Adeyemi,
The Brigadiers of a Mad Tribe by Abuchi Mudilim. Nde Iyanoikiri. Are they not science?
Yeah, they are our science, not general science and not proven.
This is my problem with you all. So we have to prove our science before it is validated?
an excerpt from Gombe, Obari Gomba, the great. You think you know a river till you drown in it. And when you drown, you are lucky if your lifeless body is found.
Proverbs. Is it a festival of words today?
I am drowning in you, my wife.
I am not a river. You are drowning in your politics. I thought I was Uncle Deep. No, you are the deepest end at ducks. Get out before darkness falls on you.
I am only involved in this constituency election for us. I want to raise the quality of our lives.
The authors speak on the inspirations behind their books and the challenges of the genre the prize focuses on this year.
When you listen to what people say about Africa, about black people, you find a lot of discriminatory context in it. Aganga is trying to create a conversation that actually brings it back to the front burner, try to dissect all of this conversation and see how we can rearrange our context in a way that makes people see us differently than the way the current media and the current narrative is presenting us.
There is this why question always haunting everybody. So the inspiration came from the COVID period. And out of all the things that were happening during the COVID period, there is this one particular thing that everybody was ignoring, as well as the West. They were trying as much as possible to cover that aspect. And that question is patient zero.
I have two experiences of my play being performed on stage, and I can start now to make the arguments of how expensive theater is.
That drama is one of the most challenged genres that you have. But compared to the novel, the drama genre is the one that can educate more people, especially in a largely illiterate population.
The story is set in 16th century, at a point in time when Islam was moving into parts of northern Nigeria. And there was a leadership tussle between two princes in Kanem Empire. And let's not forget, in Nigerian literature and global literature, drama especially has paid witness to historical personages from different civilizations.
Drama is absolutely important, that people are supposed to go to the theaters to go and see a play, and in seeing the plays, they are entertained, they laugh, and they overcome some of their anxieties, and they experience, aesthetic release.
The representatives of Kora congratulate the 11 authors for making the long list.
Everybody that you find today here amongst the 11 is one class of genius. That is who they are. So everybody is a winner.
The NLNG representative at the occasion, Andy Ode, while applauding the authors that made the long list, explains why the organization has continued to sponsor the prize.
We felt that there's an opportunity to intervene in that area to help improve the quality of work. And in doing that is to create a pool to say, look, if you want people to improve the quality of their work, there has to be a reward or recognition for good work. As a result of that, if you notice over the years, the number of entries has been growing. Because they are not just growing, the quality of entries have also been growing, which means that the price for literature is becoming much more competitive. As it becomes much more competitive, it becomes more prestigious.
Participants at the book party applaud the organizers for celebrating Nigerian authors and projecting the nation's literary works.
It's my first, and honestly, I'm really impressed. I'm impressed that we have so many Nigerian writers who are so good, and it's something that's really encouraging to think that we don't really need to depend on foreign playwrights. We have them here in Nigeria.
It's interesting and it's motivating. At least it will serve as moral booster for authors to go deep into the real heart of their work.
In a few weeks' time, 3 authors will be shortlisted from the 11 authors, and the winner will be announced in October. The Nigeria Prize for Literature is one arm of the several corporate social responsibility initiatives of NLNG. Apart from the Nigeria Prize for Literature, other prizes include the Nigeria Prize for Science and the Nigeria Prize for Literary Criticism.
"11 talented ones there. We are looking forward to the announcement of the shortlisted 3 and eventually the winner. We'll be there every step of the way, so stay tuned to this show. We'll keep you posted on that, particularly once the shortlisted writers are announced. So stay tuned to Channels Book Club. This is where we have to end the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olusegun Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.